Welcome to Panther Pourri, the podcast where we're supposed to talk Panthers hockey, but sometimes we don't. Presented by Florida Hockey Now. Here are your hosts, Jacob Langsom, Alex Lopez, and TJ Peterson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Panther Pourri, a Florida Hockey Now podcast. I am your host, Jacob Langsom. Here with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Alex Lopez and TJ Peterson. And this is a very special episode of Panther Pourri. Because, folks, last night, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final ended 2-1 in favor of the Florida Panthers. And your 2024 Stanley Cup champions.
Stanley Cup fucking champions.
Stanley Cup champions.
Everybody was waiting to see what I would say, what I would do if we didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
We'll never fucking know. Oh, by the way, we're hitting the over tonight. We're hitting the over tonight.
I hope so.
My fucking God, guys.
Holy shit, they did it. They fucking did it. I started off this episode so much calmer than this deserves.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is, we didn't do an immediate reaction because there was just so much chaos last night, and I was actually locked out of Zoom.
We would have been unable to do an immediate reaction last night.
We were unhinged. It was unhinged.
Yeah, last night was a bad movie.
God.
It was.
No, last night was a great movie. What the fuck are you talking about?
From about 10:15 on, it was a bad movie. Or 11, I guess, whenever the broadcast ended. So here are the upsides from last night for us, and Alex will be able to tell you, and Jake, get any details in that I miss. So it started off with us going to American Social. Or actually, let's go back. It started off with us popping champagne on the balcony of our apartment building, if you know, you know, screaming out at Federal.
It started off with you popping for the first bottle of champagne in our kitchen.
Not the entire thing.
Running outside while it sprayed. And I had to clean the champagne stains off our couch this afternoon.
Yeah, I woke up to a lot of champagne stains. But especially on the balcony, because I go out every morning to put my sunscreen on. And, there was a lot of champagne stains. And then we,
I don't mind
we're
the
celebrating.
ones outside. I just minded the ones on the couch.
Then, not really anything to write home about in the rest of the celebration in the apartment. We ended up at American Social probably at, midnight, maybe a little bit later. American Social was lit. A lot of cool people there. We had a great time. And from American Social, we heard, they might be going to Elbow Room. So we went to Elbow Room. Basically, couldn't get in. We did get to hang out with our friend Ethan, and he was in great spirits. Shout out to Ethan. We met a listener named Steven. Shout out to Steven. He was giving me shit for being negative, which I completely deserve. But we were...
That's how you know that he's a real listener.
Exactly.
So deserved.
Jake was basically saying, we just got recognized for a podcast while we're celebrating winning the Stanley Cup at Elbow Room. This is sort of what I dreamed about my whole life, something along those lines.
It really kind of is, yeah.
And
it's
then,
a tremendous ego boost.
And then we took an Uber home somewhere in between 3 and 4 in the morning, and...
come on, you're missing the part...
What are we missing?
Where we
had a
fleeting interaction with Mark Messier, PK Subban, and Steve Levy.
Wait,
The ESPN crew was at Elbow Room last night.
They walked by,
the team,
yes.
But we got to say a very quick hello to Mark Messier, PK Subban, and Steve Levy.
Yeah, PK twice. The other guy's only one time. They seemed in decent spirits. They were not upset about the Panthers winning the cup, from what we could tell. I said to Jake the whole night that in my head, I was pretending that Messier took satisfaction that the Oilers couldn't win the cup without him. I don't know if any of their 5 cups were without him, so I have no idea. Maybe he has all 5 of their cups.
I don't think they were. The fifth one was without Gretzky, but I don't think any of them were without Messier.
Gotcha. All right, so that's my headcanon.
I did not realize
Jake, anything to add on?
Not about last night, but then this morning I was able to make it to the celebration at Elbow Room with the team there, and holy shit, that was fun. I was there with Alex's brother and his fiance, and what a fucking lunch break that was for me. Good lord.
The highlights
I can now
were...
say I've had beer poured on me from out of the Stanley Cup. I was when Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, and Aaron Ekblad took a little swim in the ocean with the cup. I got my hands on it as it came out of the ocean. It was the best lunch break of my professional career.
So you did actually work today?
Yes, I did.
We both did.
Yeah. I did not make it to Elbow Room last night. I made it to Elbow Room today after the cup had left. That sucks, but it is what it is. The vibes in the arena when the game ended were just immaculate.
But wait a minute, Alex.
And I will say, at Elbow Room this morning, I want to shout out another listener who recognized me and came up to say hi. So shout out to Alex, I think his name was. My apologies if it isn't. But I do think that this particular listener's name was Alex. Shout out Alex for coming by to say hi to me this morning.
Anyway, Alex,
oh my God.
that is not the one we just shouted out. Restart what you were saying, please, because I have a good line I want to get in.
Yeah, I mean, just the final countdown was a blur. Like, honestly, I was so stressed, I didn't even realize it was under 30 seconds left. And then all of a sudden the horn's going, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's over. It's fucking over. Like, it's over. We're celebrating. We're won. And I just kept saying, like, this isn't the video game. I actually am watching the Panthers win the Stanley Cup, and it's not me playing NHL 24.
Yeah.
Alex, you didn't say the part that I wanted to respond to, that you said earlier.
Well,
which was about, let's say, the volume.
I got deafening.
Wait a minute. Alex, but it was only loud because of the Oilers fans. I was told it was only loud because of the Oilers fans.
My God, what a crock of shit that was. Like, I was listening to Puck Soup, and they were like, oh, it was 40% Oilers fans. No, it fucking wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
There was, like, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 there. Which, hey, all the props to you guys, because, like, great showing.
And they were
That's
loud.
Not an easy flight.
They were loud, too.
Yeah, they were loud. They were liquored up. They were ready to go, and, like, props to them. Like, they did... they sang over Alanis Morissette with with the Canadian national anthem, and then, spurned the Americans in the crowd to be even louder for the Star Spangled Banner.
Star Spangled Banner, yeah.
It was.
And isn't it ironic that
Don't you think?
the Canadian singer did the anthems and the American team won the game?
Yep.
Isn't it ironic?
Don't you think?
I think that's the only Alanis Morissette joke I came prepared with. Unfortunately,
Jake, you've already won me over.
Much else to add.
You've already won me over with the ironic reference.
That is
there's
another
a song
reference.
about Dave Coulier, but that's all the Alanis Morissette I know.
And I'm here to remind you that we're supposed to be talking about the Panthers right now.
Aren't we?
Yeah. All right.
We are.
Back on topic.
And you know what?
This is still
For
mostly
the Edmonton
Panther.
Oilers to come back from 3-0 down to force a Game 7, to be within one goal after tying the game in the first period, that's a jagged little pill to swallow.
Yeah.
I'm going to see how many more of these I can squeeze in, but keep going.
God, I hope it's 0.
Our listener count from Canada is going to plummet because they are not going to be grief-eating this episode.
I don't know if I agree.
We'll see.
Because, as we lose the grief eaters from Edmonton, I think we'll gain some Schadenfreude from Calgary and Vancouver.
Vancouver,
Right.
now, we got to talk about Vancouver real quick. The
Shout out
haterade,
the Canucks fans, man.
the haterade they've been sipping for the last 3 weeks has been spiked with every single liquor imaginable. My God, they've been going off. Did you see the sign that the guy had? It's like, Oilers lose, like, celebrating in the streets the Oilers losing. Vancouver's been unhinged the past 2 weeks, and I love it. I love it.
Fans,
I love
Canucks fans,
all
you are now my people. I appreciate the hell out of you.
Yeah, I'm almost gonna have to like drop my hatred of Canucks fans because they were just so on it.
I never had hatred of Canucks fans. I just think that they are also not a particularly well-run team. But
Well, that's true. But like
that's
their
besides
fan
the point.
their
We'll
fan
talk-
base is particularly obnoxious anytime that team is like.
Oh,
half
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But this worked
Okay.
in our favor
Okay,
here.
Alex, hold on. Being obnoxious when you're good is part of being a sports fan. The Panthers just won the Stanley Cup, and we have free reign to be as insufferable as we want to be for the next 365 days.
So what you're saying is we should be subtweeting the Carolina Hurricanes?
Yes.
We should be subtweeting Kevin Bieksa? We
Yes.
should be subtweeting Ottawa Senators fans?
I mean,
we
that
should
seems
be...
unnecessary. We're going to do that throughout the season anyway because they're going to suck.
Yeah. Well, who else should we be subtweeting?
Boston.
Boston Bruins
Boston, all
fans.
of Boston.
Boston and Toronto. Like,
Yes.
Boston
Knowledge.
and Toronto fans are so annoying.
Yeah, Jeff Bayette. We knew you were rooting for.
No. Not
He was
Jeff.
rooting for the Oilers. He
I
was
don't
rooting
give
for
a
the
shit.
Oilers.
I don't give a shit that he was rooting for the Oilers. I don't consider Jeff to be annoying. Also, Jeff is a Canucks fan. He just lives in
He's
Toronto
a
and
Leafs
covers
fan.
the
No,
Leafs.
he's a Leafs fan.
He's a
No,
Canucks
he's
fan.
both. He's both. He's both.
He's Canucks Army. He's part of that whole group.
Yeah, but he's also a Leafs fan. He's both. All right, moving on.
Jeff is not who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Let's
Bill
not get
Lindsay.
too off topic. Go
Can we
ahead.
talk about Bill Lindsay?
Correct.
Can we talk about Bill Lindsay?
I want to talk about fucking everybody, but fucking Billy. Yes, Alex, talk about him.
Yes, as I'm watching NHL Network because it has not left my iPad since I woke up this morning, and my God, you could just hear 30 years of pain exploding out of him as he was doing color for the last 10 seconds of the game. Doug Plagens and Billy Lindsay, like, that was an immortal call. That was immortal. Like, literally, and like, I don't say this in a morbid way, but like, when they pass on, everyone's just gonna pull that up and be like, look at what these guys did 60, 70 years ago. Like, holy shit, that was so good. We do not deserve either of them as our radio hosts, and I'm so glad they are the radio hosts because that means they were able to call it. Because we did not get Randy and Steve Goldstein call, which I'm sure would have been fantastic.
They're getting
But,
rings,
like,
though.
They're getting rings. They're all getting rings. But like Billy Lindsay
get
yesterday,
rings.
we should get rings. We should just make our own.
I liked it. So
But Billy Lindsay, just the raw emotion. And again, I'm watching him on NHL Network right now, holding back tears. Like, God, I just feel so good for him and so many people in the organization. God, this is like we talked about it like after they were in the process of a collapse, and it's like, if they win, are we gonna feel joy? Is it just gonna be relief? We were all wrong.
Turns out we're gonna feel fucking joy.
There's gonna be a lot of fucking joy.
Turns out we're gonna feel a
There's lot of
whole
joy.
lot of jubilation, ecstasy, just the most remarkable positive emotions you could ever feel. There was not an ounce in my head of, oh, thank God we dodged that bullet. It was entirely, holy fucking shit, the Panthers won the cup. This is the best night of my life. Like, that was fully the attitude.
Yeah, I'm just
We
like
were
they're just.
so wrong about how we would feel after Game 6, man.
I went the whole day. I was just convinced.
God,
like,
I love when we're wrong.
nothing good was going to happen. It was going to be bad. It was going to be bad. I made horrible financial decisions to make sure I was in town for this game.
Horrible
and it
is a
was
strong word.
all. It was absolutely a
You
horrible
made a
financial
very
decision.
interesting financial and career decision, but I
But it
wouldn't
was
call a
so
horrible
worth
one.
it. It was so worth it.
yeah, it was 100%
my
worth
God.
it.
Everything
You know,
that
but we
anyone
had
did to get to that game was fully worth it.
Yeah. Look, and we buried them, but here's the thing. When during Game 6,
We
we
didn't
looked
bury
back
them.
at all the... We kind of did. Look, everybody gets what I'm saying. They can go back and they can listen to what we said. We did all of that because not even after 3 games, after 2 games, we were talking about the order of lifting the Stanley Cup and who we were looking forward to seeing lift the Stanley Cup with Ardo Cal. And,
Yes.
we had been talking about after, I don't remember which loss it was, that we would just we brought the superstition into it. We violated all of that, blah, blah, blah. We had to go the other
I
way.
think that was also after Game 6.
We had to go the other way, and we've been, buying champagne, blah, 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 blah. We had to go the other way to make this happen. And it all paid off, so you can personally thank us for that, everybody.
You're welcome. You're welcome. No, I didn't do any, like the prior games, like Game 4. We watched it in a hotel because we went out of town for Father's Day. We had champagne ready to go. Game 5, I brought champagne with me that I did not go home. Did not get opened, but it got opened, but it did not get drank.
No, that's the one that you littered. We talked about that on a podcast.
Yes.
We reported you to 311.
I fed it to a tree. The tree needed it to grow. There's water in champagne. But yeah, so I didn't do any of that. Like, I brought in, like, every rat I owned to throw at Game 5. I didn't bring it. The only one I brought was the rat for Ron, and we threw that one. But that was my one rat that I brought last night. Like, I didn't do any, like, I was like, I am not doing any of the jinx stuff. Like, it's just business tonight. Like, just win a fucking hockey game. No extra rats, no champagne, no anything. It was just watch a hockey game and pray.
Yeah.
And a lot of self-medication. Self-medication.
I had the benefit of a scheduled therapy session yesterday before the game.
Yeah, that was insane
By
timing.
sheer coincidence, I had a regularly scheduled appointment with my therapist for 7 o'clock on Monday night. And that entire session was spent working through my anxieties about the game, about Game 7. Literally, I spent a therapy session talking about it. But then by the time I got home and we were ready to watch, TJ can attest to this, I was super
pumped.
calm about the game. I was excited.
You were not calm. You were excited, right?
Well, I was calm in that, like, I wasn't overreacting
You weren't scared.
to things.
You were not scared.
But I was very excited. I was super fired up for the game. I had a good feeling about it going in. Like, I was not letting that therapy session go to waste.
I was
and
terrified.
It paid off in spades.
I was terrified.
I texted my therapist after the game to let him know how it went.
I was gonna say, did he bill you for that text message?
He did not. He's a good dude. He wouldn't do that.
Oh my god. Yeah, I was terrified. My phone, like, I was getting text messages just from people that I haven't spoken to in years.
Right?
And they're just like,
so many different
Alex,
parts
are you
of my
okay
life.
right now? And I was like, no, I am not. I am not.
The flurry of texts and messages that we got after the game was remarkable. On texts, on Twitter, on fucking Microsoft Teams. I was having people from work reach out to me on Teams because that's the only way they know how to contact me, just to say, holy shit, congratulations. I tweeted this and I put it out on Facebook, but I also want to vocalize it here while we're kind of on this subject. We've been doing this. This is the end of Season 8. This is ostensibly the final episode of Season 8 of this podcast.
We're
Considering that the season turnover is in 6 days, and 2 of us will be out of town for 3 of those 6 days, it is very likely that this is the final episode of Season 8. And obviously this was the best season of our podcast, just simply due to the result. But we have seen so much shit in these 8 seasons. I counted it out to be 6 head coaches, 3 general managers, 3 different team captains, 1 or 2 near complete team overhauls, 4 years without playoffs at all, 2 years without winning a round, 1 year of getting swept in the second round, 1 year of a heartbreaking Stanley Cup final loss, and the shit that we have seen in the 8 years of this podcast is nothing in the face of the support that we get from our listeners, the interactions that we have with you guys, the relationships that we've developed because of it, and more than any of that, winning the fucking Stanley Cup trumps all of the negative that we've had to cover on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm out of words. I have no words because, like, it's impossible to describe just the sheer joy all of this is. And oh look, they're replaying Game 1. They're replaying Game 7 again on NHL Network. So I'm going to watch it for the third time because I watched it last night. I watched it this morning, and I'm going to watch it again now.
Yeah, I'll probably once we're done here and we edit this, clean it up, and get it ready to go. I'm probably going to get into bed, put on Game 7 again, and just see what happens.
Yeah, I was going to say is I can save you a lot of money on therapy and just save this game to your DVR. Put do not ever delete. And just anytime you're in a bad mood, just turn it on.
Also, ESPN Plus, for those of you that have it, you won't need to put it on your DVR if you have ESPN Plus. For the cord cutters especially, ESPN Plus. It might not even need ESPN Plus. Cutters. Yeah, but we use the DirecTV app.
Cord cutters. Yeah, like we're hardly even cord cutters because we wanted to cut the cord. We're cord cutters because we didn't need the cord. To take advantage of the things that the cords allow.
Gotcha.
We're stealing cable from our parents, basically. Like,
this is a millennial tradition that will be continued by our kids, probably. I may make sure to steal cable from Alex, okay? You're going to be listening back to... Tommy's going to listen to this episode. I'm telling you that I feel confident.
Tommy and Zane... I can't wait for 5-10 years from now, Tommy and Zane having access to this library and going back to hear how you spoke about them when they were babies.
Yeah, this is fucking bullshit, by the way. I had 30 years or 28 years of fucking pain with this team. And Zane, he's got a Cup Finals appearance and a Stanley Cup fucking win in 2 years.
Alex, if it makes you feel any better, it's not like he has a conscious memory yet.
I kind of want him to remember this.
I understand, but realistically, he's not going to.
No, he's not.
So, maybe that makes you feel better? I don't know. Maybe that was the totally wrong angle to approach that from.
But yeah, I mean, my God, it's all worth it now. The craziness of fanhood, and fan is short for fanatic. I mean, that fits all of us to a T. Yep. But you could honestly tell, and this is not, I'm gonna gatekeep the fan base for a second, but I'm also not, because anyone who wants to be a hockey fan is welcome.
Yeah.
Because I just want the game to grow, and this is not an inclusion DEI or whatever thing. This is just, hey, I want more people to like my hockey team and hockey to be as big as football. But you could see the fans that have been doing this for 30 years and remember the bad days. Remember Stu Barnes for Chris Wells. Remember Rostislav Oles, a.k.a. Baby Yager. You remember when the Luongo trade happened. Remember when, Ola Jokinen was traded. Remember when Pavel Bure was traded. All of the bad. And you could just see it in the faces of those fans who've been through it all and just being like, holy shit, we're finally at the top of the mountain.
Not to take this entirely full circle, but forget the fans that had to live through all of that. Because what you are describing is exactly what we heard escape from Billy Lindsay.
And Carter Verhaeghe just scored.
Beautiful. For a moment...
What did Evan Rodriguez do there, by the way?
Are we missing a game?
I gotta watch it again, but I think he forced a turnover.
Rodriguez, man, what a fucking
What did he do on that play?
Yeah, that
he shot the puck next to the net. He shot the puck next to the net. I love it.
Yeah.
This is going to be TJ's market inefficiency to capitalize on. Get players who, instead of shooting on net, shoot around net.
Can we talk about Evan Rodriguez for 15 seconds? He's the dog. He is so good. I love him. I'm getting an Erod jersey. I'm putting I'm going to get an Erod home jersey, put the cup patch on it, and that's going to be one of my prized possessions going forward.
With a bit of patience, you can probably catch the Adidas clear out sale.
That's a good point. Yeah, because
I'm
by the way,
getting quite a few jerseys. I need my Tkachuk jersey. I had said, hey, if whoever scores the game-winning goal, I'm getting their jersey. So Sam Reinhart when that extension hits.
I won that so hard because I have also been saying whoever scores the cup clincher, I'll get their jersey. But in tandem with that, I've been saying the second Sam Reinhart announces an extension, I'm getting a Reinhart jersey. So now I just get to get a Reinhart jersey the second he extends.
I got something when we're done talking about the jerseys. Okay, but continue.
I think that was the end of jersey talk.
All right. I'm going to do a straw poll here, kind of a hard transition, but I was talking to you about this last night. I'm curious as to where you guys stand on this right now. So I'm going to read off a player, and you tell me whether or not you think their jersey is going to be retired by the team. We're not going to do the obvious ones. We're not going to do the obvious ones. I'm not going to ask you Barkov.
Because I was going to do like a legacies cemented section of this episode, but this is a more fun way to do.
Yeah, we can continue with that. Actually, that's a good idea. So, I said to Jake that any player who scores in this game should get their jersey retired.
Which I disagree
So let's start
with
with
wholesale.
let's start with Carter Verhaeghe. Will his jersey be retired?
If Carter Verhaeghe maintains his current pace and his next contract keeps him a Panther, he's got a real good shot.
I think he's already pretty much for sure getting his jersey retired.
I don't think he's a lock for that. You know, this was only his 4th season with the Panthers.
Yeah,
But
He's got
more
1
time.
year left on his contract, and if he doesn't stay in Florida, 5 years probably doesn't get your jersey retired.
But he's the team leader in playoff goals. He scored in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final that they won. The only Stanley Cup at this point.
TJ, how long does being the franchise all-time playoff goal scorer hold if he doesn't finish his career here, while the rest of the team keeps scoring?
You got to remember, it's the same thing with like Huberdeau. Huberdeau had all these playoff records that Verhaeghe's now beaten.
11
and it's
is never getting retired in Florida now. Not a shot.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I disagree.
So it's the same thing for Carter for me.
I disagree on Huberdeau. I think it should. It's not something that should happen the day he retires, but I think it should happen. For Verhaeghe, I'm going to say no for now just because he doesn't have the length. And remember, he's going to be 30 when on his next contract, so there is going to be a dip in his play. He's not going to stay a 35, 40 goal scorer for the next 8 years. I don't think so.
No, but he could reasonably be a 20, 25 goal scorer who continues to be the franchise all-time leader.
That's a lot of goals. 2,025 goals.
I think it's possible.
Every year.
I think it's possible Verhaeghe's name gets up there.
He has to finish his career here, and he has to finish his career as the Panthers' all-time leading playoff goal scorer.
Yeah.
If that happens, 23 is retired. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Frankly, I'm not with you guys here. I'll be disappointed if it doesn't get retired. Period.
Prepare to be disappointed for now, then.
Okay, I will be, yeah.
If he only spends 5 years here, it's not happening. Kachuk or Barkov will pass his playoff goal total.
Okay. Sam Reinhart, he scored the cup-winning goal for your franchise. He had, 60 goals combined regular season playoffs this year? 65? Something like that? Is he on pace to get his jersey retired?
I'm going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
If he extends after this season, and if he finishes his career as a Panther, and if he does that while maintaining the goal-scoring pace that he's had as a Panther, then there's a chance.
I'm going to say it's more likely for Sam Reinhart than Carter Verhaeghe because we know the 8-year contract is coming. 2, he's got the two-way game that's going to age extremely well. So I'm going to say yes that Sam Reinhart has his jersey retired. All right, who's next?
Sergei Bobrovsky.
Yes, easy. No. Yes, he brought it. He was the goalie for a cup-winning team, and he's going to play 7 years as a Panther. It's a yes. And he's also the quote-unquote most successful goalie in Panthers history. I think it's a yes.
I kind of forgot about that. I don't know.
He's going to have every goaltending record for the team by the time he's done, outside of maybe like shutouts because that's a random one. But like two cup appearances, 1 cup championship. He's gonna have wins. He's gonna have saves. He's gonna have save percentage. He's gonna have a lot of these stats that no one else had. And
is he currently the Panthers' all-time leader in save percentage?
I think
he's also now got a pretty much unimpeachable Hall of Fame case. And generally, if a Hall of Famer plays several years for your team, Then you're going to want to retire their jersey number.
That was my next part of my argument of why it's a yes, and why I also think Jaromir Jagr should have his jersey retired.
I was just about to ask if that's the bar you're going with, then why isn't 68 in the rafters?
It should be, and I know you said 16 is the next one. No, it's 68 because you don't want to have to wait 15 years to retire a jersey, and Jagr is absolutely deserving.
I'm going to double down on my hard no for Bobrovsky getting his jersey retired.
You're looking at his stats?
He is never going to catch games played. He is 329 goals behind Roberto Luongo for first place in that category. Not catching that. He is currently sitting at 13th all-time in save percentage. For the record, currently third all-time for the Panthers in save percentage is Anthony Stolarz with a 925. Who was also
He's going up in the rafters.
Are you retiring 41? I don't fucking think so.
Yeah. Put
I
him
will
up there.
say, realistically, the best goalie by save percentage, with like a certain minimum of games played, I would say is Thomas Vokoun, with a 923 in 248 games. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that was the dead puck era, though.
The one place where where Bobrovsky does have some leverage is he is second to Bobby Lou in wins, but he's down by like 89. Also, not a record he's going to catch. So Bobrovsky will not end his Panthers tenure as a record holder in any metric except for one.
But that's kind of the biggest
one. Is the Stanley Cup. I don't think winning a Stanley Cup in and of itself is enough to get your jersey retired.
It is when you're the starting goalie, though.
I disagree. In that case, Alex, if that were the case, every team would have, not every team, but there would be so many more jerseys retired across the league if winning a Stanley Cup was enough in and of itself to get a goalie in the rafters.
When you get tenure, but I'm saying is you got tenure as well. He's gonna have 7. He's gonna have 7 years with the team.
Yeah, and still not even in shooting distance of being the team leader in games played among goalies. Bobrovsky deserves his flowers. He deserves all the love from Panthers fans. I would be surprised if 72 ends up in the rafters. I think Verhaeghe has a better shot.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Aaron Ekblad.
Yes.
So that's another really interesting one. That's one where I would love to say yes. You know, that's a homegrown talent. That's a drafted kid. I believe he does have the current record for points by a defenseman for the Panthers.
I think it's Montour
you know
last
what other
year.
record?
Points in his career. Yeah, go ahead.
No, career. Yeah, career. And I hate that I'm about to bring this up because I do think it's very stupid because there's a lot of context involved that mostly involves how long he has been a Panther. But Aaron Ekblad also leads the Panthers all time in goals against. And obviously there are a lot of factors as to why. He hasn't always played in front of the best goalies. He hasn't always played on these dominant Panthers teams. And he was your number one for many, many years against top competition without the quality of teammate that would support him not being the all-time leader in goals against as a Panther. But I do think that that's something that you look at, and it's a strike against his jersey retirement case. Ekblad is another player whose contract is coming up, and that's another one that I would have to say he would need to stay here and retire here in order for 5 to hit the rafters.
That I agree with. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the offseason really at all, but yeah, Ekblad was a name that was brought up by the PDO cast as a name that Bill Zito might look to jettison this offseason, and I was just kind of cringing at it.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
You have Forsling locked up, and Ekblad is not going to be worth a tremendous raise.
Yeah. But yeah, I really don't want to talk about offseason. That's honestly the shame of this cup going so long, is that July 1st is literally a week away.
Turnaround.
The draft is in 3 days. July 1st is right after it.
And we have nothing to talk about from a draft preview perspective because first of all, we hardly even have picks, and second of all, we as a podcast don't fucking know what the board looks like this year because we've been a little preoccupied with a fucking cup run and knowing that we don't have a first round pick anyway.
Yeah, Claude Giroux, your debt
We're
is finally
paying the piper for Claude Giroux. That's so
No, this
funny.
is the Kachuk year, I'm pretty sure.
No,
This
next
is the
year's
Giroux
Kachuk.
year?
This year's Claude Giroux. Yeah,
Oh, man.
next year's Kachuk. We still don't have a first for
Speaking
another
of
year.
Chuck, I think that's the next number that we need to talk about.
Oh yeah, that's an easy yes.
Where
That's
is
an easy yes.
19's case?
That's an easy yes.
Yeah.
I think Kachuk still has a long way to go, but he is very well positioned.
It's gonna be a yes. I'm
There's good reason
projecting.
to assume that it will be, but there's a lot that he needs to accomplish to get 19 up there. He is probably the best, the most well-positioned of the players who aren't slam dunks. And for the record, in my head, there is only one player who is a slam dunk to have his jersey number retired. And
At
that is
16.
number 16, Sasha
Steven
Barkov.
Lawrence.
No one should ever wear that number for Florida. I will kill you. But beyond Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk is the most well-positioned to have his jersey number retired at the end of his Panthers career.
Can we talk about
Yes.
our captain Sasha Barkov for a
All
few
right,
minutes?
Let's
cut off the
Are we gushing
retirement. Unless you guys have, I don't think Forsling has a great case, but if one of you wants to argue me on that, go for it.
He'll never have the counting numbers.
Right. He doesn't have the case strictly because the jersey retirement will never be based on the underlying
8-year
stats.
contract though, so you got a shot. 8 good years, who knows?
Yeah, true.
All right.
The captain.
Sasha Barkov played McDavid to an absolute stance draw in the series.
Stalemate.
14 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time against each other last night, and McDavid did nothing. He had 0 points in Game 6 and 7. Connor McFraud, McOverrated, Greg Cody,
McOverrated.
you were right.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No, he's still the best player in the world.
Yes, he is. Okay,
But
let's
we
talk
have to
about
commit to the
Barkov.
bits.
But let's talk about Barkov. The first Finnish captain in history to win a Stanley Cup. The first captain in NHL history to win a cup without ever having a fight in his career. All of you Softcov haters, shut the fuck up.
amazing.
You lost.
That's so funny. I did not know that. That's so funny.
For years, the Barkov haters who called him Softcov, oh, you're never gonna, you can't win with him. You're never going to win a cup with him as captain. Captain's got to be willing to fight for his team. No captain has ever won the Stanley Cup without ever being in a fight, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, for the record, I know Barkov's never been in a fight. I didn't know he's the first Stanley Cup winning captain to never be in a fight.
And it's just one more thing I'm going to victory lap on that I was right on and you were wrong.
Deservedly
Just
so. Fuck those
because
people. That's funny as hell.
it was the same nonsense. It was like, oh, there's never been a European captain before Nick Lidstrom. It's like, well, there just hadn't been. Like, doesn't mean they're incapable.
Yeah.
Like,
Barkov, beyond being the first Finnish captain to win the Stanley Cup, he's only the 5th non-North American captain to win the Stanley Cup. Or non-North American born and raised. The other 4 being Lidstrom, Chara, Landeskog, and shit.
Don't remember
Is it
him
Lidstrom again?
winning the cup.
No.
Peter Forsberg was never the captain,
Landeskog,
right?
Lidstrom, Chara.
no, it was
not.
just Zach.
Sakic was the captain.
That's what I thought.
God damn it.
Devils,
I really
Scott
thought I would have
Stevens?
this off the top of my head.
Who was the captain of the Devils?
No.
No.
Was it
He's-
Scott Stevens?
First,
No,
Scott
Nick
Stevens
Lidstrom
Was it
was the
Scott
first
Niedermeyer?
Nick
Okay.
Lidstrom was.
also North American.
It's all recent because, like I said, Nick Lidstrom in like 2010 was the first ever
Yeah.
Euro captain to win a cup.
Well, it wouldn't have been 2010.
Alex
because the Blackhawks
Ovechkin.
won in 2010. Thank you. It's
Alex
Ovi.
Ovechkin.
God damn.
How did we forget Ovi?
Because I was so
Well-
focused on like who are players who don't play anymore.
Do we have something that we want to segue into from this? Because I got something to segue into from Ovi.
Well, we're still talking about Barkov. We're not done talking about Barkov.
Let's talk about Barkov.
He was a monster again last night. Even like held off the score sheet, I think, but he was still so fucking good.
Didn't need him to score. And I mean,
Oh.
that line scored twice. Verhaeghe scored and Reinhardt scored. So they showed up. They
Verhaeghe
showed
was
up.
at the end of the by the way, Paul Maurice changing the power plays worked. I mean, it wasn't a power play goal, but it essentially was a power play goal.
Yeah, it was one of those, like, just expired goals.
Right. But it worked. There was only 2 power plays for the Panthers in the game, but it looked a lot better.
And thank God.
Verhaeghe gets one on the second unit. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So Paul Maurice.
Paul Maurice. There's another person we need to fucking talk about.
Some red meat for the Canadian listeners real quick. There are not going to be many penalties called in that game. That was never going to happen.
Right.
And that's why I will say that I'm not surprised, but the Oilers got away with so much interference, so many pick plays. It was getting obscene.
So did the Panthers.
I'm sure that they did, and I just didn't notice.
That's why I'm interjecting. That was an evenly not called game.
Yeah. I mean,
it was a pretty fairly called game, all things considered.
There's no way that I could
Kachuk
focus
penalty
on
was
all the... Absolutely. You can't call that in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. Are you kidding me? But, like, I just want to say that about the interference.
Yeah.
The interference, it was really bothering me how much they were getting away with it. And, like, at some point, I felt like they had done it 4 or 5 times, that it would have been fair to call it once.
There's one that you're talking about that could have been an interference call against either player, the Oiler or the Panther, who was involved. So let's discount that one. There was a very clear missed interference call that could have gone against Ekblad. That was not... That was a fairly called game. That was an evenly called, an evenly non-called, really, game.
Yeah. That was a, hey, we're not going to be the story tonight type of officiating performance.
Well, a bunch of non-calls can also become the story.
I agree, but they weren't going to...
This was always going to be a whistle-swallowing game.
Yes, I was not concerned about a late power play last night.
Right. Here's the fun thing about that, though. A whistle-swallowing game really benefits the Panthers.
Good.
Oh, yeah,
Very
absolutely.
good. So good.
The Panthers,
Absolutely.
just to give you all an idea of how this series went, across the 7 games, there were 314 minutes of 5-on-5. Shot attempts were 53 to 47 in Florida's favor.
Percent.
Unblocked 51 to 49, a little closer. Yes, percent. Expected goals 51-49 in Florida's favor. Like the 5-on-5 play really leaned towards the Panthers, and that.
But it sounds like it was pretty even
at all. The Panthers.
What were the goals?
The shot attempt. The goals for it at evens were actually even. It was 14-14.
Yeah.
14 to 14.
It sounds like it was pretty even, which is when we're going to talk about the special teams. Even will be better. If one team was better, it was the Panthers.
And it's relatively even, but tilted towards Florida at 5-on-5.
Absolutely.
So a game that you knew going in wasn't going to get very heavily called, you knew would benefit Florida. Especially considering that you knew McDavid was going to play the entire game. I'm hyperbolizing, but you know what I mean. Which allowed you to not have to try to match Barkov to McDavid, because since you knew McDavid was going to be out there so much anyway, just throw Barkov out too. Who cares? And that helps you neutralize McDavid's impact. Though I don't think a tremendous amount of McDavid's 5-on-5 ice time came against Barkov, relatively speaking.
No, he had 14 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time against him last night.
That's a lot.
The most of any forward? He had 12 minutes of 5-on-5. Yeah, that is the most of Panthers forwards. Yeah. So never mind. Although against the field, how many minutes total did McDavid skate at 5-on-5?
It's hard for a forward to play as many minutes as he did.
22. McDavid played 22 minutes at 5-on-5 last night, which is a fuck ton. And 12 of those 22 minutes were against Barkov.
Which is a lot.
Yeah. Can we talk about... I'm sorry. I'm looking at the big blow-up photo.
Yes. Like,
I'm looking at the big blow-up photo.
We want to talk about everyone and everything.
The team photo. I'm looking at the team photo, and Spencer Knight is just like cheesing so hard, and I'm like, "What are you doing in the front of this photo, Spencer? Get in the back."
He's enjoying himself is what he's doing. Okay, so I want to point out one thing about the team photo, and I'm sorry for flicking everyone off, but I need my index finger on the mic, so the middle fingers are next up. Carter Verhaeghe, I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but Carter Verhaeghe in the team photo only held up one finger. I don't know if maybe he just wasn't thinking about the fact that usually players are holding up the number of fingers for how many cups they've won in these team photos with the cup. I don't know if he just wasn't thinking about it, or if it just look, my headcanon here is he doesn't count the cup that he won with the Lightning.
He might not have played in the game 6. I don't know if he did.
He did. I think he was a regular rostered player. He just wasn't getting the ice time.
I don't think that he was in the lineup for that game.
Is that the thing you hold up the number of cups you won? Because I'm pretty sure they're all just going, hey, we're number 1.
Yeah.
So this is based on my memory of the old Blackhawks team photos where they would always be holding up 2, 3.
Yeah, but that's when you're on a dynasty, hey, this is our third one, blah, blah, blah.
When the guys won it together,
what was Tarasenko doing? That's true.
He wasn't holding up any. Okay.
Yeah, so next year you can look out for Barkov, Kachuk, Verhaeghe, Ekblad, and Co. to hold up 2 fingers.
Because we're never losing the cup again, and it's just going to live in South Florida forever.
Exactly. That's how this works.
Goddamn right it does.
I do want to spend a moment as we talk about legacy, and we spent time talking about who's most likely to have their number retired. This cements the Hall of Fame cases for Bobrovsky. Well, it cements the first ballot case for Bobrovsky. His Hall of Fame case was already set, but this, I think, finally getting a cup to his name cements his first ballot. The Stanley Cup plus 2 Selkies, I think, cements Barkov's Hall of Fame case pending hitting 1,000 points, which he will hit within the next 4 seasons. But there's a more important legacy that the Panthers winning this cup cements. And that is the legacy of head coach Paul Maurice.
Oh my God! Yes, he goes from
losing his head coach of all time. Doesn't fucking matter once you win a cup.
Yeah,
because
what did I say last night, Jake? What did I say last night? Aerosmith taught us. Aerosmith taught us. You gotta lose to know how to win.
You gotta lose to know how to win.
Yeah. Also, hockey cliche, not just dream on.
True. Paul Maurice is also the second most experienced coach in NHL history, with only Scotty Bowman having coached more games than him. He's also the 4th winningest head coach of all time.
Yeah.
And now he's got his cup.
He went from a GOAT to, I don't want to call him the GOAT, but he went from a GOAT to one of the more respected coaches in the NHL. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame now that he's got his cup.
Can you think of a head coach who actively coached this year who deserved the Stanley Cup more than Paul Maurice?
Absolutely not.
Maybe we're being homers about that answer, but I genuinely, going through the list of head coaches in my head, I genuinely cannot think of a head coach who is more deserving of a cup than Paul Maurice.
The fact that the Panthers haven't gotten any recognition for towards Paul Maurice and Bill Zito yet is hilarious. I mean, we got the one that matters most, the fucking
literal
Stanley
trophy.
Cup.
Right. That's what you're talking about, a literal trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually a cup.
I don't think that Bill Zito cares that he hasn't won GM of the year, because Bill Zito probably knows, the way I do, that being a GM is not something that you succeed in a single year. It takes a long time to put your vision together and build a competitive team. And the ultimate goal of doing a good job as a GM is putting together a team that can win the Stanley Cup. Bill Zito now has his cup. I don't think he gives a shit that he's never won GM of the year.
Couldn't agree more.
Paul Maurice with the Jack Adams, same kind of deal.
Paul Maurice, have you guys heard his quotes yet from last night? How he was talking.
Maybe not all of them, but
I think this was with CBC, where he was talking about his dad, and he was saying, "Hey, Dad, your name is going to be there right next to all of your favorite players." And he listed off all these legendary Montreal Canadian players, and he goes, Paul Maurice, it's going to be on the cup. And I was just like, God damn, this guy always wins with his cup. He just always wins. He knows the exact right thing to say. It's perfect.
So good on the mic. He's incredible on the mic.
I hope he just gets like 5 minutes to say whatever he wants at the parade on Sunday.
He's going to be the best quote at the parade.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Chucky's going to give him a run. Also, somebody's going to be... I'll just say real quick, somebody's going to be so drunk at the parade that they're going to be speaking total nonsense, and that's going to be legendary, and there's no telling who it's going to be.
It's going to be Randy Moeller.
No, well, yes, but of players, I would bet that gargled nonsense is probably going to be... Honestly, I feel like I'd put my money on Sam Bennett.
I don't think Sam Bennett's a talker, though. I don't think he's...
But don't you think that that's maybe part of why he's going to be gargled nonsense?
Yeah, but the thing is, the mic's not going to be in his hand. Everyone doesn't.
They're all going to get a chance.
But when you're that drunk, doesn't the alcohol speak to you? It tells you you're a powerful orator.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I'm getting at.
So what you're saying is Tobias Bjornfot, be ready.
I don't think he's going to get the mic. That's different.
Yeah.
Jacob said everybody.
Everybody who played. Come on.
I know.
Kyle Okposo, I'm looking forward to that.
My God, that's going to be a beautiful speech. Kyle Okposo retiring a champion. Well, I don't think he's
We
officially
don't know
announced
for
that.
sure.
He's done.
But yeah, like, I sure hope he gets to go out on top.
That Kyle Okposo just played the final game.
But
it's very likely the final game of his career, and he is retiring a champion. And talk about people who fucking deserve it. Kyle
and it was
Okposo,
his
man,
best game of the series. He had a very effective game, and Paul Maurice's decision to put him in for Nick Cousins paid off because he was good.
Yeah.
All they really needed the fourth line to do is to not give up a back-breaking goal. And not only did they not give up a back-breaking goal, I don't really even remember them getting caved in or giving up that many chances. I think that was just their most effective game of the series.
So much so that I remember you being worried about like one particular icing, and then the fourth line not even fucking needing. Like it was nothing. Like it was great.
I was worried about everything, man. I was worried about the puck, rolling.
You should have come with me to therapy yesterday.
It was a Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. I don't think there was any therapy that could have made me not worry. It would have helped, but probably not to the extent that I would be. That's fine.
I do want to harken back to the episode that we did with Ardo Cal for a moment, because when we very preemptively talked about the cup rotation, that started by us asking him who he's most excited to see raise the cup, and his answer was Paul Maurice. And my answer was Paul Maurice. And I think that answer really paid off in spades, because, don't get me wrong, it was awesome to see, Barkov lift the cup and smile and yell, and it was beautiful and everything. But the circumstances around Paul Maurice getting to lift that cup, man. Spencer Knight brings it over to him. He's in the middle of a hit with Emily Kaplan. He turns around, accepts the Stanley Cup, kind of bows down towards it, lifts himself back up, whispers something to Spencer Knight, and then walks over to the boards, closes his eyes, and raises the Stanley Cup with his eyes closed. As if, in my head, what I interpreted that was Paul Maurice essentially contemplating his entire career up to that point and thinking about I'm like getting choked up talking about it right now.
It was so good. And you could just hear him scream, fuck yes, fuck yes, fuck yes.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, in the middle of an interview, he just accepts the cup and starts shouting fuck yes after what looked to be contemplating the entirety of his career that had brought him to this point. And man, it was just, everything about it was perfect for him. It was such a heartwarming moment. It was such a vindicating moment for Paul Maurice. It was such a cathartic moment for Paul Maurice. And then he said something to the effect of wishing that pleasure for Jets fans in the future. And I thought that was really sweet.
That was super classy.
Like, everything Paul Maurice did last night was just perfect. He said the perfect things at the perfect times, reacted to everything in the perfect way. It was, Paul Maurice to me yesterday was the star of the show.
Couldn't agree more.
After the game, I should say. He was the star of the celebration.
We also, so just sticking with what you said, Luongo. I don't think I've ever seen someone in a suit have more joy than Luongo lifting that cup. Yes, he didn't get to do it while wearing his goalie gear, which is, I'm sure, what he really wanted. But
I'm surprised he didn't just like have it on tap, ready to go. Like,
okay, how funny would that have been? How
Luongo
funny
in a suit, but with like a blocker and a glove and a mask.
Okay, I'm mad we didn't. No, I'm mad he didn't put on his gear, his full gear and his old jersey. That would have been the funniest thing. It's like,
that would have been
hey,
so funny.
I practice with the team when they need a guy. I'm doing it.
He should have.
It would have been so fun. Yeah, but the talking heads would have lost their mind. Like the hockey men would have lost their mind.
I don't know if they would have, because it's Roberto Luongo. Everyone loves this guy. He's literally one of the most beloved figures in the NHL.
ESPN would have loved it, but there are some like journalists in Canada that would have been they stick up their ass about it.
I don't give a fuck about them. Like,
yeah. But I'm agreeing with TJ. Like the Jim Mathesons of the world would have been like, "You weren't a player." Blah blah blah.
15 seconds on Jim Matheson, not including a single Panther on his Conn Smythe ballot, please.
He's a fraud. He's a homer.
A joke. Kind of a nice guy though, based on what I've seen recently, but just not a good hockey writer. Look, if you're a good person, that gives you some points in my book. He seems like a good guy, but it's time, old man. Hang it up. There's a lot of people that would really appreciate the opportunity to be in your shoes.
Yeah. There was only one person who didn't put Connor McDavid first on their Conn Smythe ballot, and it was someone who works for ESPN. I don't remember.
Yeah,
who wasn't even there last night.
Ryan Clark, maybe.
Ryan S. Clark.
Yeah, that sounds right. And he put Barkov first on his ballot.
No, he had Bob first.
He had Barkov.
Almost
positive. Check. He had Barkov.
I'll look at it. Okay, I believe you.
If I'm wrong, then fuck me. But I am almost certain that he had Barkov first, not Bobrovsky. Because I remember being surprised. A lot of people went McDavid, Bobrovsky. He went Barkov, McDavid.
No, everyone went. Almost every vote was McDavid, Barkov. Yeah, I'm looking
Bobrovsky
at it now.
was number one. Bobrovsky was number one for Ryan Clark.
Yeah, he had Bob.
He had Barkov third. Yeah.
I mean, that's fair if Bob and McDavid are 1 and 2.
Yeah. I don't want to spend much time on
I'm
it.
wrong about that, but
it's not because I just don't care, and I don't think anyone on the Panthers care either. Do we have any problem
Connor McDavid doesn't care.
He didn't show up for the Conn Smythe.
Connor McDavid did not accept the Conn Smythe.
Do you have an opinion?
I don't blame him.
Right, he shouldn't have. He lost. You think that he gives a shit about the Conn Smythe after losing in Game 7 of the Cup final? Of course he doesn't.
I don't really have an opinion on it.
One of my friends
I wanted to see him.
That.
I wanted to see his face very badly when he was touching the Conn Smythe.
One of my friends texted me after that with just the words "consolation Smythe."
Nice.
Which I thought was really funny. Connor McDavid didn't want the Conn Smythe in a losing effort. But this is also part of the problem with the way the Conn Smythe is awarded. I mean, I learned this last night because Subban, Messier, and Levy were talking about it during the second intermission. Conn Smythe ballots are due with 10 minutes left in the third period.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous. So much can happen in the last half of the last period of the last game of the season.
I mean, apparently more reporting's been done, and you're able to, like, add conditions to your ballot, essentially like, hey, if the Panthers win, this is my ballot. If the Oilers win, this is my ballot. If it goes to overtime and there's a game-winning goal and it's scored by, one of these players, this is my ballot. You're allowed to add conditions.
That makes sense.
But
here are all the conditions by which Evan Rodriguez would win the Conn Smythe.
I get McDavid
hat trick, not on the ice for any goals against, and then also an overtime winner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm a little bitter that it didn't go to a Panther. I think it should have been Barkov, but I also don't care. They don't make Conn Smythe t-shirts that they give out.
I was thinking about that today. You're so right. They don't.
Yeah, there's no Jack Adams t-shirt. There's no GM of the Year t-shirt. It's one fucking t-shirt that every fan wants at the end of a sports season.
And it's that championship tee. And Connor McDavid doesn't get to wear one of those. Or a hat for that.
Too bad, so sad.
Yeah. He'll have to go back to his $300 million mansion with all of his Hart
Heated
trophies
driveway.
and Ross trophies.
In Edmonton.
And his new Western Conference Championship stuff, his new Western Conference Championship gear, which I don't think he's ever had before. And then he'll have to just wallow in all of that stuff that doesn't say Stanley Cup champion on it until October. What a loser.
Absolute McFraud.
What a loser in his multi-million-dollar mansion.
Mick overrated. Greg Cody was right.
God.
If we want to have a true overrated conversation, I can do like 10 minutes about Draisaitl.
In his
Didn't
last
show
game
up.
as an Edmonton Oiler.
Didn't show up.
Possibly. Also potentially injured, but like, so is everyone. Get over it.
Everybody's injured,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Panthers got zero sympathy last year for being absolutely
And
dead.
I don't think that we at any point were like, well, if Matthew Tkachuk's shoulder wasn't separated, then we would have won the cup. Because no, we still probably wouldn't have. We got fucking
Well,
yeah.
dominated in the cup final last year.
Well,
In games 1 and
his
2.
His sternum was fractured. Montour's shoulder was separated. Who cares? It's last year.
Point being that like, it doesn't matter at the end of
No
the
one
day.
cares.
Like, yeah, it's interesting to hear who was playing through what, but it's not like you can heal up and go try it again.
Yeah.
As in like that exact same series.
Everyone's
You
got
play it
injuries
in
that keep them out 4 to 6 that they play through in the Stanley
I'm
Cup
still
playoffs.
not convinced that Barkov didn't play games 3 through 7 concussed.
No, he absolutely had a concussion. He absolutely did.
But-
the dude had a concussion.
Look, like I'm not going to go out there and just say that definitively, but the fact of the matter is that he took a fucking hard elbow to the head, and interestingly enough, didn't really look exactly like himself for the rest of the series, at least not offensively. So we'll see. We haven't seen the Panthers injury report yet. Why would we? They're busy fucking celebrating their Stanley Cup because
They
the
took it
Panthers
to the
won
fucking
the
ocean.
Stanley Cup. I was there for
Yeah.
that. I was
I
on the
know.
beach for
Yes.
that.
I missed it.
It was
Yes.
amazing. That was one of the best moments of my life. It was so cool.
I got to recant what I said to Ardo Ocal about Kachuk's celebration not living up to what Ovi did. I still think it's not
It
going to
might.
quite live up to that, but it is in the ballpark when I thought that was not going to happen.
When the tamest video we've seen is all of them exhausted at Kachuk's house in his backyard with the boat going by at like 7 in the morning, and they've clearly been in the pool for the last 3 hours. By the way, did they all have a slumber party at Chucky's house? Like, I feel like they all crashed there.
Doubt it. Maybe they did. I don't know. But I feel like so
those
many of them
guys
live in
didn't
that
sleep.
area that, like, yeah.
Well, yeah, they didn't sleep, but I'm saying is like they all just went to Chucky's house and hung out. Like,
Well, they didn't go
Yeah, no.
out because we didn't see them.
Look, fact of the matter is that Barkov was there, and Barkov famously lives in Boca.
yeah.
So I don't think that Barkov went home, went to sleep, woke up, and came down to Kachuk's house.
But
I think
these guys,
Barkov was probably just hanging out there.
for sure. But these guys did not go to sleep until after they left Elbow Room. So here's how the night went timeline-wise that I pieced together. So they partied at the arena till about 3 a.m. I'm sure you guys saw the video of Forsling and Barkov out there serenading the staff still in the arena at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
From there, I'm guessing they went to Chucky's house. Elbow Room in the morning. And then after Elbow Room, they took it down Las Olas, stopped by Bob, who was eating at,
Ands, I think.
no, it was like Euro
I know
something.
Kachuk took it to Ands.
I was literally
There's a
there
pic-
on Monday. I was right next to that restaurant on Monday because I was picking something up from Lululemon, which is right next door. I might be wrong about that, but it looked
It was like
exactly the
Cafe
same.
Europa.
Yeah, Cafe
I
Europa
think it
was where
Cafe
they
Europa.
were.
Also, to Bob, who apparently, like, while having lunch with his family, took pictures and signed autographs for a full half hour. Like, just absolute legend stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know, interacting with the fan base who absolutely adores you right now. Like, you know, great job. So, yeah, the cup went there, and then I'm guessing it went back to Chucky's house where these guys slept for the first time. And I'm assuming it's going to be right back at Elbow Room this evening. American Social, one of them.
Yeah,
Like-
it's gonna be right back out.
It's gonna be hard to catch what Ovi did, but I think Kachuk's gonna try. And morning one in the Atlantic Ocean, Pete Pritchard was probably not thrilled about that with all the salt water and stuff and how old that cup is.
Look,
Well-
every team has to celebrate in some way unique to them. And what's unique to the Panthers is the beach.
Yes.
So that's how Kachuk celebrated. He took it to the beach.
Did you guys see? La Carreta on Calle Ocho went off last night in
yes, it
Panthers
did.
gear.
Yeah.
Bird Road went off. Hialeah went off. It was all over the place. Our 6 fans were really multiplying, it seems. They did like mitosis. That's the right word? Wow.
Pots and pans were banged last
The pots
night.
and pans were out, man.
They
And
sure
the pots
were,
and
man.
pans surely weren't the only thing that banged.
Only thing that was
Oh
missing
my
was
God,
Seven
yeah.
Nation Army.
God. Yeah, how many players are we having kids in 9 months?
I was literally just doing the calculation in my head of what month is 9 months from now.
It's March.
We're gonna have to. It's
Yeah.
March. We're gonna have to have the tracker for March when it's like, congratulations.
Well, but we're also at the end of June, so we're talking late March, early April.
Yeah. Rob Tallis, good for him. Like, he was so happy in that team photo. Good for him, man. I'm probably one of his millions of texts he got yesterday, and I don't know if he'll ever respond to it, but just so happy for him.
Talk about like all the shit that we've gone through in our 8 seasons, all the 6 coaches and the 3 GMs and whatever. Through all of that, the Panthers have had 1 goalie coach
Yeah.
since we've been doing the podcast.
And him getting hired by the Panthers was his first job in the NHL. This dude was literally coaching like me. People like kids like me out of Incredible Ice, and the Panthers were like, "Oh, you're good at this. Why don't you come work for us?" And then he eventually got the full job when Allaire retired. So good for him. So happy for him. Johnny Kangemi, you're a Stanley Cup champion. One of my brother's teammates is high school hockey teammates is a Stanley Cup champion. That's freaking awesome. God, this is still real, guys, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, this isn't, some glitch in the Matrix and I'm going to find out the game is tomorrow. Game 7 is tomorrow, or there's a Game 8.
Well, if there's a game
I do
8,
believe
there
I
also
had-
have to be the potential for a game 9.
Oilers are getting back in Game 8. The crowd in Alberta is going to be crazy.
Yeah,
Do
my
we have
Uber,
the predictions.
my Uber this afternoon, the guy's like, yeah, I took a couple of Oilers fans to the airport today, and they weren't happy.
Good. Bye.
Bye. Thanks. Apparently, like, the whole trip was cost about $8 to $10 grand.
Oof.
Sorry,
Though,
guys.
To be fair, I think most of that was still probably just the tickets to the game.
Well, I mean, flights aren't cheap either, especially last minute.
That is a long way to go. You need at least 2 flights to cover it.
Unless they were part of that charter, which, by the way,
Right, there were
bravo
a
to
couple
those
charters.
Oilers fans. Bravo to those Oilers fans who literally, in 48 hours, put together charter flights, filled them up, and came down here. Like, that's some awesome shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
you guys
had a
are
lot of
losers.
vitriol. I had a lot of vitriol for Edmonton, and today I'm realizing that that's only because I was upset they were winning.
Yeah.
They were never winning in
I-
the series.
I have no ill will towards Oilers fans. My only reservation about the Oilers as a team is that they're poorly constructed.
Yeah, Ken Holland
Yeah.
didn't do a
Like,
good job.
Ken Holland is not, like, his contract is up, and I would be shocked if they brought him back.
Well, apparently, it's coming out that he can have, like, there's an invite to stay within the org, but he will not be the general manager.
Yeah.
It'll be some sort of, minor title to, special assistant to the GM or something.
Yeah. I would say,
Yeah.
like, the one notably good thing he has done as their GM was sign Zach Hyman.
Draft Evan
Which-
Bouchard was also good.
Was he the GM for that draft?
I believe so.
All right, then yeah, that too. And I guess Broberg also then, because Broberg was after.
I mean, it only really paid off now.
I mean, it's got to pay off eventually. If it's
Didn't
going to
win,
pay
though.
off at all, it has to start somewhere.
I have hopes.
the point is, like,
Not high hopes,
For
but
all
hopes.
that, Ken Holland also gave Darnell Nurse 9.25 for 8 years. So like,
Yeah.
he's not good at this anymore. And like,
He never
yeah,
was good at it.
I mean, he's still the architect of the Red Wings dynasty.
Yeah,
And it
but
was more
no
or
one will ever
less
be able to take
European
that away.
scouting.
right, but that was, hey, we're gonna be the best at European scouting and find a way to get all these Russians who can't get out of their contracts to come play. I don't want to talk about Ken Holland. Fuck Ken Holland. He is not a Stanley Cup champion today.
Today, correct.
Today.
He did not win an additional ring
Yeah.
against the Panthers. Ken Holland's sitting pretty with his Stanley Cups though. Like he's got a few.
Bill Zito's a Stanley Cup champion, though.
Bill fucking Zito's a Stanley Cup champion.
He was ugly crying.
He was.
There was a lot of ugly crying in the stands last night.
Good. There was crying in our apartment. Okay, so Phil Pritchard brought out the cup with like 5 minutes to go. I think that's when they showed them uncasing it and preparing it. Literally, at the sight of the Stanley Cup with the Panthers up 2-1, I fell to my knees.
He did.
See,
It was an involuntary drop.
Thank God they didn't show that on the
Stanley
broadcast.
Cup with the Panthers up 2-1.
Thank God they didn't show that.
Jake going to his
arena.
knees?
No, I'm saying thank God they didn't show that to me in the arena because I might have had a heart attack right there. Like I was so fucking scared.
TJ literally
was
said,
screaming,
"Put that thing away."
Yeah. I didn't want to look when there were 10 seconds left and the puck was on the boards. I was just waiting
You
for
still
the
wouldn't
shot
get up and
attempt.
celebrate yet. Yeah.
I was so terrified that it was.
I think it was at 3 seconds left, but I finally got you off the couch and to start celebrating with me.
I honestly,
Dude, I was so
scared.
terrified.
I didn't realize how much time was left. All of a sudden, the buzzer's going off.
I was so like hyper aware of the time from 95 seconds and counting down. I was so aware of the time.
Yeah. I was just waiting for the shot attempt because I was certain that puck was coming off the boards and they were getting the shot away. And that would have been a huge celebration for me, but like I was just waiting for it to happen. Not saying I was waiting for them to, eventually score. I just so thought they were getting a shot. Go ahead, Jake.
We need to talk about that one chance towards the end of the game.
8 minutes left. 7 minutes and change. Something like that.
Where it sure looked like they had Bobrovsky dead to rights.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Whose fucking stick was in the way of Connor
Forsling.
McDavid being able to wrap the puck around Bobrovsky? It was Gustav motherfucking Forsling.
And let's also shout out Eetu Luosterainen, who played goalie on the rebound, I believe. Just like selling out for the cup there 100%. And we thank you for your sacrifice so much.
And that is how I can be so confident that this team really deserves this cup. There was no quit in that moment.
Yeah.
You had Bobrovsky just down. He was down, and McDavid had feet of space behind him. And Forsling just makes sure that his stick is positioned just so to prevent the puck from being able to get to a place where McDavid could get a clean shot away. I thought that was the moment. I thought that was the heartbreaker.
I thought they had tied the game. Like, I still don't really understand how it didn't go in.
And I can confirm that TJ, after that sequence happened, TJ literally heightened his voice and said, "Did they not score?"
Right, like them not scoring was
surprise.
Yes.
Genuine shock that they didn't score. I think that was the moment that my heart rate got its highest. I wore my Apple Watch during the game specifically because I was interested in tracking my heart rate throughout the game, and I think that moment is where it hit 144 as the highest my heart rate hit during that game.
I was offline the entire game. No
Yes,
texts, no Twitter. Phone was 10, 15 feet away from me. And Apple Watch was not on, so I didn't get to see any of it. And it really helped with the anxiety, I think. But I was still very anxious and annoying, I'm sure.
You weren't annoying. Gus Forsling is Stanley Cup champion.
Fellas,
And then
are we
he
about to
wore
wrap
his
this thing
own
up?
jersey to Elbow Room.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
I wanted to talk about
That
that.
was so
Let's talk
great.
about that.
That is maybe of all the pictures and videos that I took today, that is one of my favorites. So, Alex, I'm with your brother at Elbow Room at this moment, and I see, this kind of chiseled face, blonde guy in a Forsling shirt walk by, and I literally turn to your brother and say, that guy in the Forsling t-shirt might actually be Gus Forsling. And then he's like talking to the bouncer at Elbow Room, like the guy who's guarding the stairs to go upstairs. And in that moment, we're like, shit, that's Gus Forsling. That is actually him.
My buddy actually somehow got up there and was taking pictures with Forsling, and I don't think he got to hold the cup, but he got up there for some of the party, and that's when I decided I'm driving down there, and of course by the time I got there, they were gone.
Should have come with me this morning.
I was dead this morning.
Best lunch break of my life.
I didn't get out of bed. I couldn't get out of bed till 11 o'clock.
It is a miracle I got out of bed when I did. It is a miracle. I don't know how it happened.
I did some work from bed this morning. I don't think I actually got out of bed until like 9:20, 9:30.
It was the immaculate productivity today.
Yeah. I will be sleeping tonight.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Contrast.
I can't wait to go to sleep. I'm so tired.
We might be taking a little cat nap after this. We'll see what we do, but I sure hope I have the energy to go to wherever the cup is tonight, because I have a feeling it's going to be very near us.
It might well be, but also it's like storming outside, and I'm fucking exhausted. Yes. There are raindrops on my window, and I have seen some flashes of lightning. So that might put a damper in that plan, but we'll see. Alex, do we have the pre-series predictions?
I thought you had them.
No, I never.
I said I was going to get them, so I'm getting them. All right, Alex, you ready? Let's see how smart these so-called experts were about the Stanley Cup final. Now, before we actually, you know what? I'll reveal that at the end. Let's just get to it. We're going in alphabetical order, but I'm actually going to omit the very top because that'll be the most satisfying one for you, Alex. Let's start with Sachin Shandan. Oh, wait, no, I'm so fucking sorry. That guy picked the Panthers, or woman, I don't know. This is awful. All right. Shout out to Ryan S. Clark, the only person who voted a Panther #1 on their Conn Smythe ballot, but still picked Oilers in 7.
Wrong.
Tim Kavanaugh, Oilers in 6.
Wrong.
Oh, boy.
Vince Massey, Oilers in 6.
Wrong.
AJ Miletsko. Oh, did it again. Dang it. Mike Monaco, Oilers in 7.
Wrong.
Gotta do it to you. Arda Ocal, Oilers in 7.
Oh.
Wrong.
Sorry,
I thought he told
buddy.
us he picked the Panthers.
He told us he picked the Panthers in the Eastern Conference Final. I don't think he told us that he picked the Cup.
Greg
Or maybe he
Wyshynski,
did like multiple predictions.
Oilers in 6.
Wrong.
All right, here's the 2 sweetest ones. We did it alphabetical order,
the
but
ones
not
at
for
the
these
top,
2.
There are 2 options, and they both start with B.
Well, no. There's one double F. Mark Messier, Oilers in 7.
Wrong. Cry about it.
God, this is gonna.
And then the best one of all, even though he's a friend of the show, John Buccigross, Oilers in 7.
Yep.
Wrong. Champions. Play the fucking song.
Panthers in 7, baby.
One thing that I want to
Made
kind
so
of
much money off
bury.
the Panthers winning.
I won my first ever sports bet. I made
I won money off
$14.
I won money off the Panthers winning. I didn't hedge. I didn't.
Good. That's why we won.
I don't even know what I was going to say. I'm just too happy right now. The one bet that I made that I should have put more money on, I only put $1, was Panthers to beat the Oilers at 11-1. That would have been a nice hit if I would have put real money behind it.
I'm a little bummed because under normal circumstances, I probably would have parlayed Panthers to win and Carter Verhaeghe anytime goal.
I put 0 bets on last night's game.
Yeah.
0. Like, even the free $20 one I got for being at the arena, I'm like, nope, not doing it.
Right.
All of my bets have lost. So I'm just like, I'm not putting any money. I'm just going with it. So
Yep.
I threw away a $20 bet.
That I did not bet on the game yesterday.
Can you not still use it?
No, it's not in my account. I think it expired after 24 hours.
Whatever.
Wow. That's a shame. So
Whatever,
one
I'm
last
not
thing that I
complaining.
wanted to talk about, somebody else that was wrong, by the way. And it's very popular to gang up on this person right now, so we're going to be able to do so. And that's going to be great, is Drake, who put a lot of money on the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup.
$500,000. He put $500,000 on the Oilers.
He a fan, he a fan, he a fan. If you know, you know.
I can only
We're
assume
celebrating
that
right now.
Lamar had $500,000 on the Panthers.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
I was just praying that they found a way to get him to do the drum for Game 7.
That would have been the best. But
that would have been really funny.
it also wouldn't have worked, like, thematically.
It would have been cool if he was in the arena to just be that much of a hater because, oh my God, he loathes that man to extreme extents. I do not loathe anything to the extent that Drake is loathed by Kendrick Lamar. It is ridiculous. And we're going to blast all those diss tracks at the parade. It's going to be so awesome. It's going to be so awesome. F you, Drake. You shouldn't have bet on the Oilers. You fucked up.
Doesn't Drake always lose when he bets on championship series?
He typically loses, but I'm not sure if he always does. Yeah, he doesn't have a good record as far as I'm aware.
Good. Fuck him. What are we thinking, boys? Anything else?
We're Stanley Cup fucking champions, guys.
God
This is
damn
a
right.
Stanley Cup championship podcast.
The one other thing that I do want to call out that is fully unrelated to anything that we've been talking about, except for the Dynasty Red Wings European scouting. Congratulations to Pavel Datsyuk, Hockey Hall of Famer.
The only way this day could have been better if Walt got into the Hockey Hall of Fame today. Like, could you imagine? Could you imagine the party? Like, I know the voting, but it was like, hey guys, just pretend we all voted him in to find out while he's celebrating with his son would have been amazing.
He's getting in as a builder for sure. If he doesn't get in as a player,
he should get it. He should get in as a player.
He should.
He's so good,
but he's a guarantee as a builder. Guarantee.
Why?
Yeah.
Because he raised a surefire Hall of Famer. He was a great player. Brady's also a great player. He might have raised two Hall of Famers.
That's not what builder
builders
means.
for.
Builders
All right,
are for like
fine.
coaches and management.
Fine. Not really. I mean, didn't
He built Matthew Tkachuk, didn't he? Like, no, that's not how that works.
But shouldn't it be?
No, it shouldn't. And even if it was, that still means that Keith Tkachuk doesn't get into the Hall of Fame until Matthew Tkachuk does. And also, put your fucking hands down. No, that's not how that works. That's not what getting inducted into the Hall of Fame as a builder means. What ground did Keith Tkachuk break? Look, Keith Tkachuk is one of my favorite players growing up. He's one of the players who got me into this sport.
I had an answer to that question about I was thinking the same thing, Alex.
I think we have the same answer. He broke his wife's walls down to get.
Look, that's the easy joke there.
He broke the goal line, 400, 500 times? Which was it? It was a lot of times.
That's not what that question means. Stop being fucking whatever the word
annoying.
is.
I'm very annoying.
No,
I will be annoying for the
word.
next. I will be annoying for the next 350 to 365 days.
You have every right to be. You have every single right to be. That's what being the Stanley Cup champion means.
Everybody, you gotta rate us 5 stars at Elbow Room. You gotta rate us 5 stars at Elbow Room.
Rate us 5 stars at Elbow Room. Rate us 5 stars at the Hockey Hall of Fame, which will forever house the Stanley Cup, which will soon be etched with the names of the Florida Panthers that won it.
Including, for the first time, the name Evan.
That is correct.
Kyle Okposo.
Oh, God.
Forever.
The Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. Good night, everybody. Go Panthers.
Let's fucking go.